My name is Patty. I'm here together with Betty and Scott at the AID Northwest Motorhome, parked just outside the Tacoma ICE Detention Center. We're volunteers with Advocates for Immigrants in Detention Northwest. We call the motorhome our welcome center. When immigrant detainees are released, our trained volunteers like Scott and Betty meet and greet them right here. And the immigrant stories are just as diverse as the countries they come from. So let's hear one story now from longtime AID Northwest volunteer Betty.
Thanks. When people are released from detention, they're often scared and confused, bewildered, unsure of who to trust or what to do next. So on a cold winter afternoon, Janie and I greeted 4 guests with smiles and waves and gestures. 3 of the 4 came into the Welcome Center, where we offered them snacks and drinks and phones to call family and friends. The 4th, however, a young Chinese woman, walked across the street and stood there. Janie approached her with welcoming gestures and again invited her inside. "Wait for family," is all she would say. Back inside the RV, we contacted the Chinese interpreter who spoke with our other Chinese guest, a young man. He visibly relaxed as he understood that we were volunteers here to help him reunite safely with his family. Janie took the phone outside to the young woman who listened to the interpreter, but still refused to come inside, waiting for family. We kept watch on the woman from the window of the RV, and as the sun set, Janie saw that the thin blouse and slacks the woman wore were not going to keep her warm. She took her a coat and persuaded the woman to at least put it around her shoulders. Soon Janie returned to our outside guest with a hat and gloves and got her to put those on. And when it started to rain, Janie grabbed an umbrella and stood with the umbrella over the woman. All the time, Janie is saying soothing words and smiling and loving this young woman. About a half hour later, when both were pretty soaked, Janie guided the woman into the Welcome Center. There we worked to get her dry clothes and warm her up. We handed her a phone and said, "Family." The woman dug out a little book, looked up a number, and dialed. Family was on the other end of the line, and they were driving toward us to pick her up. Janie spoke to them, assured them that we would be here with the young woman, warm and dry, when they arrived. Our guest finally relaxed with a little smile and accepted some warm tea. When guests come out, they are uncertain of what to do next, and there's always a volunteer like Janie right there to offer love and support. These are items just as important as the snacks and coats and backpacks we give.
Thanks, Betty. And here's another unique story from Scott, who's another dedicated AID Northwest volunteer.
Well, like Betty's story, this is a cold weather story. It was a November afternoon, late in the afternoon, so it was starting to get dark already, and it was cold and windy. And out of the gate walks this young man from Nepal. He's got no jacket on. He's just wearing a t-shirt, and he's carrying a clear plastic garbage bag with a few belongings and important papers for his asylum case. He spoke no English. He was shivering and cold. These were his first steps in as a free man in the United States, and he was walking out into a deserted industrial district in Tacoma. He had no idea how he was going to reunite with his family members in New York. You know, I'm sure buried somewhere down there was some joy at finally getting released from the detention center, fleeing religious persecution in his homeland. Right now, though, all I could see on his face was fear and doubt. But we got him into the warm RV, gave him a backpack so he could put his belongings and his papers into it. And then we outfitted him with a nice new jacket, a parka with a hat and gloves. He looked at himself in the mirror, and I could see his face start to say, "Yes, I can do this." Within an hour, we connected him by telephone with his relatives in New York, and they bought him a plane ticket to fly that night, knowing that we would get him to the airport in Seattle. But this time, he was all smiles. He was still going to face a lot of challenges in this strange new land to which he'd immigrated. But thanks to AID Northwest, he was off to a good start.
Thanks, Scott. That's really, really impressive. And friends out there who are watching this, through your generous donations to Aid Northwest, you can help us continue to offer this bridge of hope to released detainees, giving them a sense of security and hope in their resettlement path. Thank you.